Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, in today's video, we're going to be talking through the top 25 champions in Raid that are not Void champions. Yeah, these are the ones that when you pluck them out of a shard, you are screaming for joy, running around the room because they are going to make an absolute impact on your account. When we've got a game with over 800 odd champions now, you want to know which ones are top tier. These 25 are going to be absolutely bang up there. And please do not comment below with, where is Krisk? Where is Mithrala? They are Void champions. And if you want to see it, I'll do those on a separate video. But this is all about non-Voids. You might see a couple of them bashing away at the Hydra here right now as a little hint. Let's go. Okay, before we get into the 25, I'm going to call out two honourable mentions who are not going to be part of the 25. And the first one is part of this team here, just blowing up Hydra. The Ninja. The Ninja, the Boss Slayer. The Nuker, the crazy fella. But also the one that nobody can get anymore. So I can't really do content showing this guy off anymore because basically 99% of the player base probably don't even have him. It's quite annoying. You see here he's done 49 million. He's done a third of the damage of this Hydra team. But he's not just good on Hydra. He's good really whenever there is a boss in your face. Clan boss, a ton of Doom Tower bosses. I really wish... I understand there's probably some sort of contractual reason why Plarium will not allow Ninja to be released to other players again. But I really wish they would just re-release a second champion with the exact same skill set of Ninja and let people pull him through shards because he's an awesome champion. And it's sad that I feel bad doing content with the dude now because basically most people that watch this video probably don't even have him. So he's honourable mention number 1. So honourable mention number 2 has to be Armager. And honestly, like I toyed with putting him in the list. He's an uncommon champion. He's kind of ridiculous. He's still in teams at the very end game. That's why he's honourable mention number 2. Because although he might not be a top 25 champion, he's not far off it. He's still bonkers. He's still used in a lot of endgame teams. Be it Iron Twins, be it Speed Farming Dragon 25. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff that he still does. Even with accounts that are absolutely stacked out. He's got an A1, which has got one of the best turn meter drops in the game. For stuff like Fire Knight or Spider or Dark Fae or a whole bunch of areas. And then he's got an enemy max HP still on his A2, which is just a nuke. It doesn't hit as hard as some of the other enemy max HP skills, but because it's on a potential 2-turn cooldown with books, and because they cap the amount of damage you can do with these skills now, he actually comes out as probably the most viable endgame dungeon slayer with enemy max HP out there, ahead of his rivals like your Septimuses and your Husks and stuff like that. Because he just gets it back so damn quick. So yeah, Armager, honourable mention number 2. Let's get into the actual list. So I'd say, like, no particular order with this list. We're just going to kick through 25 of the top champions in the game. Now, this one, I kind of put Draco down a little bit recently. And when I was going through the champions, I was like, you know what? He's still a top 25 non-void. The trouble he's got is that he gets surpassed, I guess, by a couple of voids doing a similar job. But still, if you pull him as a champion, he is a game changer. He comes in and he does so much. Yeah, he's got a decreased defense and weaken on a 3-turn, which is a place, so it doesn't worry about affinity. It's a really great steal. 3-turn, goes on for 2 turns. You're basically going to allow the rest of your team to do as much damage as they like. He's got a multi-poison A2, great for clan boss, great for dragon, great in a lot of Doom Tower bosses. And then he's got a cannon of an A1. One of the hardest hitters in the game if there's a lot of debuffs out there for an A1 hit. And once you've killed one person with it, he can then splash a bunch of damage onto a second person. It's not as good as it used to be, but it's still pretty damn sexy. So Draco hits the list. I already wonder if there's people going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? Because maybe they don't agree with that one. But for me, I think he still makes the top 25. Next one on the list is going to be another lizard then, Nekmothar. I wish I was around. I was on holiday when this guy was a guaranteed champion. And damn, he's an absolute beast. Great base stats. Look at this. All of the base stats are top tier. He's got speed in all battles as an aura. We're seeing this guy in some of the best Hydra teams in the game, but he's good basically anywhere. AoE decrease attack on his A1 goes up to a 75%. This is on an A1. AoE goes up to 75% if people are under debuffs already. That's pretty damn nuts, honestly. So you pretty much always got a decreased attack coming out of his A1. His A2 decreases speed and puts leech out there. So he gives you a way to heal and he drops the speed of your enemies, especially in Hydra. This guy's absolutely insane, but generally good in any content. Books down to a 3-turn, and this is 100% booked. And then the A3 gives you a speed buff, a turn meter buff, and he goes again. So it's on a 4-turn. Because it goes again, he's basically cycling through the rest of these even quicker. And he cycles through this quicker. So it's just, his kit is awesome, honestly. He's like speed, he's applying your decrease attack, and he's giving you a form of healing. And he's got this passive as well. Fills his champion's turn meter by 5% each time a debuff on the enemy is removed or gets wiped off or whatever. So he's just getting tons of turn meter fill, which again means he gets back to this quicker and he gets back to this quicker. He's just an absolute speed freak. Probably now the best speed manipulator in the game for like end game content. Okay then, let's move on to the next one on my list. Calvalax. He forms some of the best dungeon comps in the game. He forms some of the best speed teams in the game. He's got an absolutely juicy kit. The only thing that lets him down is his woeful HP level, but the rest of his kit is really fun. I'll start with his passive, actually. At the start of a round, he just throws out 4 poisons on everyone, on all enemies. It's very cool. And then he gets a chance at the start of each turn of putting out another poison on enemies as well. Whenever an enemy places a poison on him, wipe it off and replace it with heals. The passive is awesome. I love this passive. And then the passive feeds the rest of his kit. So he's got an A1, attacks an enemy, a chance to increase the duration of poisons out there, and gets a heal for each poison that is out there. His A2 attacks an enemy, gets extra hits for poisons being out there. And then the A3 is an enemy max HP skill, but it does more damage according to the amount of poisons. So yeah, he can nuke with this. He can nuke with this. This is cool for setting up some of the speedrun stuff. And he's also got speed in all battles as well. Absolute freak of a legendary here. Now, his partner in crime, honestly, someone I really would love on my account. Also, one of the main ways to speedrun stuff. Yeah, if you've ever heard of Pavo, Pavo uses like a couple of these dudes, a couple of Calvalaxes, and he beats up Fire Knight, you know, in the time it takes to sip a coffee. He's ridiculous. But yeah, this dude makes stuff happen. One of my most wanted champions on my account. He's got a passive, which gives him resistance for each poison. It's kind of like, yeah, whatever. He's got an AoE A1 with a good chance to put decreased speed out. He's got an A2 here, which books up to 100% chance of placing 2 poisons and poison sensitivity for 2 turns on all enemies, and placing increased speed on your team. And then his A3, this is where it all starts getting juicy. So he's going to increase the duration of poisons and burns on enemies. And then he does a pop of damage with any that are out there. So he activates those just straight away. And depending on the setup, so if you use him to activate burns, someone like Spider, it's just going to do an absolute shed load of damage. If you use him to activate poisons on waves of enemies, he's just exploding the enemies to death. It's very cool. Places weaken if there's none of those debuffs out there as well. So his kit, he's got accuracy in all battles, which is not bad. Good base stats. His kit is just awesome for any sort of speed running stuff. And also, if you pair him with a burner, he's awesome kind of anywhere else because the HP burn damage towards the end game is nutty. Right, we're going to talk about a few dwarves here. First one I'm going to talk about is the Geo. The Geomancer, the man with the angry eyes. Yeah, this dude is a legendary in an epic skin. That's all he is. He is one of the best in the game. Like, if I'm thinking about an account and people say to me, who do you most want on the account if you were starting off? Maybe not if I'm starting off, but this guy's like up there easily as a top 5 most wanted champion on an account. he gets so much work done. Okay, he's in so many endgame teams. Iron Twins, Hydra stuff, Doom Tower stuff. Spider can be awesome for that. Like, honestly, pretty much anywhere in the game, he adds a lot of value, maybe with the exception of Arena. Okay? So this guy's mainly about his A3, applying a burn and a weaken, and then when that burn is out there, anytime an enemy hits any of your team, doesn't need to be Geo, anytime an enemy hits any of your team, there's a chance of a mini War Master proc popping off. And you can get multiple War Master procs popping off if you're getting hit by AoEs. The more targets that have got a burn on them from Geo, it has to be from Geo, but the more targets that have got a burn on them, the more damage is popping out. This guy is nuts, which is why he finds his way into so many teams. He's a one-of-a-kind for Iron Twins with this skill, because he just pumps out literally an insane level of damage. No one gets close to this guy in terms of like speeding up an Iron Twins run. But anywhere, Clan Boss, when you hit Affinity, so when it switches away from Void and you start getting hit more times with the AoEs, he's got potential to do more damage, which is why he comes into a lot of unkillable Clan Boss teams as well, or killable teams, honestly. But he just becomes an absolute beast. In Spider, when the Spiderlings are attacking any of your team, as long as you've got that burn on the main Spider, he is popping War Master procs on the Spider. It's a really good way to get the Spider dead. And there's a whole bunch of Doom Tower bosses where the same mechanic is just awesome. Bomb is one. Yeah, there's a ton of them. Anyway, also, I haven't really talked about it, but this same skill not just does that, it also depletes the enemy turn meter. Yeah, which is crazy, by the way. And he gets a turn meter fill. It's a really, like, it's probably up there as the best skill, or one, no, I don't know. It's an insane skill. This combo is one of the best in the game from any champion that exists. He does have a decreased accuracy AoE on his A1 as well. The A2 often just gets turned off because people want to use the A3 more and more, but the A2 actually hits pretty decently hard, and it cleans all the buffs off a target. It's actually not bad. Stills them if there's a burnout there on this, placed by this guy. So yeah, very, very cool. It also reduces the cooldown of the main skill, yeah, if the target's killed. But there's not, because he's mainly a boss killer, there's not many situations where that actually works, which is a shame. But still, Geo is up there as one of the best. A couple of Legos in this group as well. So Brogne is a one-of-a-kind type of champion. He's got the ability to place a shield. Which way around is it? I think it's this one. Places a shield on his A3 here. Also places block debuffs and increase attack. This skill alone is amazing. Yeah, block debuffs. Pretty much all bosses are trying to hit you with debuffs. Yeah, increase attack sets up your nukes, and then a big fat shield equal to 30% of his HP. So you're controlling the shield for everybody through one champion. That's actually really good. And then the shield, oh, by the way, it's protected. Can't be removed. Yeah, there's no Hydra stealing it off you. There's no cleansing it away from Madame's. No, thank you. It's going nowhere. When the shield is out, he gives you healing. He reflects damage. It's awesome. Yeah. Also, he can extend the quality of a shield with his A2. You need him to hit hard to extend the shield well. The more damage he does, the bigger the shield extension. But Brogne, between these two skills, is a one-of-a-kind. No one else in the game does this. He enables the best Clan Boss teams in the game. There's people that hit over 1 billion damage against normal Clan Boss with this guy. He enables basically the best killable teams in Raid. Because of his block debuffs, for Clan Boss that is, because of his block debuffs, he enables you to beat Affinity up. And then outside of Clan Boss, he's just genuinely like a really solid champion. Resistance in Doom Tower Aura is okay. And he's got a burn on his A1 as well. So we see him played in a lot of other content, but Clan Boss is kind of like his main arena. And then the other dwarf that I want to talk about here is Trunder. She's been surpassed a bit now in terms of like the king of all arena, or the queen of all arena. But with muscles like this, she needs a mention. Yeah, she works out, and she's still top tier in the game. So, as I say, she's probably not the best arena offensive champion anymore, She's still up there as a top 5. She's still up there as top tier. She's got a double hitter on her A3, and then she's got a smack on her A2 as well. But she comes in now as like one of the best Hydra champions in the game. She slays Hydra super quick. She's still a top tier arena champion. And if you're like, well, I can't really use her for that anymore because I'm using someone else, you could actually just put accuracy on her and make her an HP burner, which people don't tend to do, but she's actually really useful. She applies, she's got a chance to apply stun, and then if stun's out there, she'll apply HP burn as well. People don't use her for that, but her kit's actually really varied. So she can come in and do some work in PvE stuff, but still up there as one of the best nukers in the game. Okay then, let's move on to a Shadowkin. We're going to talk about Lady Kimmy here. Lady Kimmy kind of does it all. She can play anywhere. She's the fastest champion in the game alongside a couple of others at the same speed. Great base stats. Speed aura for Doom Tower, which is okay because she's actually useful in a lot of Doom Tower stuff. I do wish it was all battles, honestly, because she's great in the arena. She's great in Hydra. She's great in a lot of dungeons as well. So we've got here an A1, attacks once, then again, against someone who's got highest turn meter. So in the arena, you're kind of attacking an enemy, and then you're attacking someone else with high turn meter, which means that if you give her the mastery, which drops turn meter, Evil Eye, I think, she's going to push back 2 people's turn meter. That's actually really cool. We'll attack the same enemy twice if it's the same kind of parameter, and you've got a chance of dropping an additional turn meter bit on the second part of the second hit here. So not only do you get the mastery drop turn meter, you can also just drop turn meter anyway. Actually really good for Fire Knight. Get double hitters in, turn meter drop. I like it. The A2 is an AoE. Books up to 100% chance of putting out decreased accuracy and decreased speed. She was kind of like designed as an anti-Iron Twins champion if Iron Twins mechanic wasn't all about trying to find an unkillable method, really. But yeah, if we were actually running the mechanics of the Iron Twins as you're meant to, then she would be like the perfect champion. You know, decreased speed is awesome. You kind of need to decrease his accuracy to stop yourself taking the stacks. So she would actually have been perfect if that was the way we played that game mode. They haven't really allowed us to do it that way, honestly, or not very well. We've got here 100% chance of decreasing turn meter as well. So we've got speed, turn meter, and accuracy all in the bin. And then on her A3, she kind of does the reverse of it. So she's boosting your accuracy, boosting your speed, and she's also going to steal or remove a random buff from enemies. Puts block buffs in its place. She needs a lot of speed, a lot of accuracy to get her stuff done. Once she's doing that, she is just pumping all sorts of turn meter challenges for the enemy. She's also got this passive here, so whenever this champion places a debuff, she's got 2 here and a third one here, decreases the enemy's turn meter as well. So she just enables like the rest of your team to get their job done before the enemy team get going. And yeah, if your team receive debuffs, then she gets turn meter filled to get back to taking her turns. She's just absolutely awesome. Really, really champion. Okay then, let's move on to a couple of demons. Yeah, we've got to call out Helicaf here. He came in this year as a fusion game changer for anyone playing Raid. Yeah, if you're able to pick him up, I called it out at the time. He is phenomenal as a champion. Yeah, he enables by himself totally unkillable teams for clan boss. That alone puts him up for the majority of the player base as one of the most important champions you could ever pull in the game. Yeah, once you can get Ultra Nightmare clan boss dead every day, this game becomes a lot easier because you just gather a lot more resources. And that's all about his A3 here. So it's on a 4-turn cooldown. It gives you block damage for 2 turns. And when it drops off, you get an increased defense buff, which is actually pretty cool as well. He's got a shield on his A2, which scales from his defense. And his damage also scales from his defense, which is cool as well. He's got a passive that if someone is hit when they've got that block damage debuff out, or block damage buff on, sorry, then he will counter attack, which gives you a chance to lay your A1, and your A1 puts out weaken. Also ignores block damage and stuff. He's got defense in all battles, so he's an Iron Twins master, and he is a clan boss master. But I tell you now, he can just be used in almost all content in the game. I run him on my free-to-play. He's in my Scarab team. He's in my Hydra teams. He's in my Clan Boss teams. Like, almost any teams, he's in it. He's in a 3v3 team for me. Like, he's across the board getting utilized. Now, there's a few more in this faction, honestly. Kaimar, still up there as, like, he enables speed teams. He enables insane arena comps. He's in big Hydra teams. He's very, very cool. He's got an A1 that applies poison. It's an AoE hit. It's okay. He's got an A2, which will just cleanse all buffs from enemies and put them to sleep. This is a great ability as kind of like a, you know, lead your team to victory. The sleep actually enables a mastery, which puts out more damage. So this mastery here is, or sorry, this ability seems like it's weak on the face of it. It's not. It's a really strong ability on a 3-turn. And he's got this A3, which gives you a full reset of all of your skills. This is where he becomes a speedrunner. You get to use your abilities again, wave after wave. So you actually just annihilate enemies with the same skill. Since AI manipulation came in, this guy just kind of like rose to the top. Also gives you a turn meter feel as well on the same skill. Speed in arena, one of the best arena auras in the game. Great base stats. Kaimar is a beast. Let's talk about Hefrak. Hefrak is one of the champions that kind of went over the top of Trunder as a nuker. Takes a bit more work, a bit more setup. He looks absolutely sweet, by the way. I love this champion. Basically, he's all about damage. Yeah, he's got an A2, which attacks all enemies, and then will attack again if you get them under 50% HP. And he ignores defense with the same ability. It smacks. It does obscene levels of damage. And that's what we like. That's what we like. Yeah. The other cool thing about him is if one of your team is killed, he'll just do it. So if you've got like a weak source person in your team who dies, Hefrak's like that. Hold on a minute, fellas. Whack! And the cool thing about the passive as well is it doesn't put that skill on cooldown. So if it doesn't quite get the job done yet, he's like, oh, I'm just going to have my turn now. Crack! And everybody is dead. He's a very, very fun champion. Also gives himself self-buffing, so increased attack and crit rate, and then he goes again. So you can actually run him as 70% crit rate, which means you get more stats on him. He boosts his own attack. Oh, he's disgusting. This guy is disgusting. And then A1 is a double hitter, which also hits really hard against a single target. Very, very cool. It's like, it's pretty simplistic here. His kit is simplistic, but it's a lot of fun. So Hefrak is up there as one of the best. Same faction, Sakia, in my top 25. A bit in a similar way to Theodore, honestly, but she functions a little bit differently. Again, look at the skin. It's so cool. So she's mainly about burning stuff to death. Yeah, she's got an A3, places a HP burn for 3 turns on all enemies. Yeah, hooks to 100%. And then if she places it on everybody, she'll get an extra turn. And then the extra turn, she comes in with the A2 and she's like, by the way, I'm going to drop your defense now. Then I'm going to give you weaken. Oh, and also, I'm going to pop the HP burns on everyone. Yeah, insane for Hydra, insane for Spider, insane for Sorath, and probably a bunch of other places as well. She also hits for a decent amount of damage. So it's not like she's just burns. She also just hits. You can build her in a number of ways. Got HP burn extension on her A1. And she's got a quite cool passive as well. She gets more speed and damage for every ally or enemy that are under HP burn. She pairs up with Cardio as well for some like interesting stuff. So if he's on the same team, there's a bunch of healing going on as well instead of damage from burns. That doesn't come in very often, I don't think. I don't have Cardio, so I don't have Sakia either, actually. I don't have either of them, which is sad. But I don't see that kind of like synergy really happening a lot. Might be wrong. But yeah, accuracy in all battles as well, which is always cool. Sakia is up there as one of the best. It's actually more... The Demon Spawn is a crazy faction, honestly. I've got to call out more to Macabre. I can't believe I'm doing it. Not for an all-rounder. Yeah, this is quite a niche pick. But I can't not call out more to Macabre when he's in almost every plat team at the moment. Yeah, he has come in as a kind of like plat defensive champ. So why is he so good? It's mainly because he's got a passive that gives him the ability to unlock Peril. Yeah, and Peril basically is nuts. So it ignores shield and it ignores block damage. And it gives him basically enemies that are killed by it cannot be revived. So it's like a block revive mechanic. Ignoring shield is big. Yeah, bolster is quite a big thing in arena. Necret is quite a big thing in arena. He's ignoring all of that. He just kind of powers on and blows people up. At the same time, he's ignoring defense. Now, for those who don't know, ignoring defense is the most broken thing you can do. He doesn't need any of the kind of fancy sets like Savage, because he's already ignoring all of the defense with this skill. So all you're doing is you're putting him in something like a Stone Skin set, making sure that he gets a turn, and then when he gets a turn, making sure he gets hit. When he takes a hit, he unlocks his Peril. You take out the annoying threat, and then basically the game is won. Yeah, the rest of his kit's actually okay. He's got block buffs on an AoE. Pretty cool. So yeah, 100% if booked, chance of putting out block buffs. It does give you a speed in all battles aura as well, which is actually really good. Gives you a heal reduction A1, which is okay. But yeah, it's mainly about this Peril and then the unlock. Yeah, he's also one of the most annoying champions in the game to play against. Whether it's in Nightmare Campaign or whether it's in Doom Tower 106, I think, or some sort of stupid level where you've got to try and deal with these guys and they absolutely blow you up. Very annoying. Let's talk Duchess, one of the most influential champions you could ever pull. You saw it in my Hydra team right at the beginning of the video. She's actually one of the people that's reviving. She heals when she revives with this A3. It revives your whole team. She puts a veil on them so that when they've come back to life, they're actually going to take less damage through the veil. She also puts a perfect veil with her A2, which is one of the main ways to deal with the head of torment, but also makes you take reduced damage. She gives you block debuffs and increased attack, similar to what we talked about with Brogne. Basically sets you up for a whole bunch of different content. She's mainly used in the arena for an insane arena defense champion, or used in Hydra clan boss as a kind of protector. But honestly, she can kind of come in anywhere. I use her in my Doom Tower wave clear using Seer. So she's kind of like my fail-safe in case something goes wrong. Some of the waves where perhaps you don't clear them all in one shot. But she is phenomenal as a champion. She gives you a bit of a shield on her A1 as well. She's got this crazy passive. Decreases the damage you take from AoEs by 25% straight. It's a straight damage reduction. In fact, I didn't talk about Geo. Geo's got the same thing. I forgot to mention it. Geo's damage reduction equally, not quite as good, but is insane as well. And 15% if it's bosses. So if you're throwing her in that Hydra clan boss, you're instantly just taking 15% less damage, even if you do nothing else. Very cool. Speed in all battles as well. Duchess makes the list. So one more from this faction. And it's going to be this lass, Allure. She's probably not as kind of influential account-wide. Yeah, but she is one of the most important champions to grab if you're looking to deal with Fire Knight, especially when you're going from 21 to 25. Yeah, she is also incredibly useful on Dark Fae, and generally like decent, but not crazy. Fire Knight, Dark Fae is kind of like definitely a 2 spots, and it's all about this A1. 3 hitters, as long as they crits and you've got enough accuracy, every hit will drop the turn meter of the enemy by 25%. So pretty much, let's say you're unlucky and you only land 2. Well, that's 50% of the enemy's turn meter gone. Yeah, as long as she's quick as well, then she'll rotate through this really well. It's just about having a team that enables her to keep doing it without her dying, really, because she's quite squishy as a champion. She does have an AoE A2. She can put out drop defense and a sleep. Actually kind of cool. The sleep part of it's kind of cool to give you a bit more time in places. And the weak source drop defense, well, sometimes it might mean that you actually don't need to bring a decreased defense champ. Although I wouldn't say that's her main part of her design. It only goes up to what, 50% chance to land. It's really kind of weak sauce if that's all she did, you know. The A3 can hit hard. It does ignore defense if you build her to do damage, but that will mean you need a lot of stats: speed, accuracy, crit rate, survivability. Then you've got your damage that kind of comes in as 0.5. So it's pretty hard to make this one do damage. My one does do damage. I've got Crazy Deer, right? But most people will kind of take that as a secondary thing. And then you've got an accuracy in faction crypts, whatever, really. I guess the other kind of shout out is for faction crypt bosses. She's also really strong. And for some of those waves where, you know, you've just got like Valks popping up and stuff like that, you're trying to keep that turn meter down so that you can get your job done. She actually comes in pretty damn clutch in that situation as well. Okay, let's go on to a couple more. We're going in sacred order here. The Deke. The Deke makes my top 25. Would he have made yours? Comment below. But yeah, what we got here, we've got good base stats. We've got a champion that does so much in his kit. He's got a leech on his A1. Cuts out your need for lifesteal gear. He's got an A2, which is an AoE drop defense on a 3-turn cooldown. Very cool. And then his A3 is a turn meter fill for you, a turn meter drop for the enemy, and he gets an extra turn. If this didn't say grants an extra turn, he probably wouldn't make this list. But it does say it, so he did make the list. It makes a massive difference to his kit. This is on a 3-turn. Because it grants an extra turn, it's the equivalent of being in on a 2-turn. Yeah, that's the important point here. Gives you speed in all battles as well. This sets up crazy clan boss teams. It makes sure that he cycles through his abilities really fast. And yeah, he's just an outright beast of a champion. So he's pretty much, if you think about his arena skill, he's giving you the aura. He's giving you the turn meter fill and drop for the enemy. He's giving you decreased defense. And then all you need really after that is a nuker. He's doing all of the other jobs. You just need a nuker after that. Premium clan boss, he's got your drop defense. He's got your leech. He's got turn meter fill. And he's got speed aura. Like, he just brings a lot. Throw him in a stun set. He's cycling through his A2 really fast. So you're stunning up a ton of enemies whilst doing all of the other stuff I just spoken about. He's just an absolute beast in this game. Same faction then. You saw him at the start of the video. Ninja did 49 million on my Hydra run. Cupidus did 64 million. Yeah, Cupidus is now in some of the best plat level arena offense and defense teams. But I need to say this. I need to point this one out. Cupidus is a great champion. If you pair him with Venus, he's a phenomenal champion. Okay, and that's the distinction here. So would he have made top 25 if there wasn't a pair with Venus type of setup? I think he might have struggled. I think he would be in that kind of mix of, I'm an HP burner that does damage, and there's quite a lot of those, yeah? You could throw in Elder Scarred, you could throw in Tyrant, you could throw in, like, there's a lot. But because of this pairing with Venus, he has to be pumped up, because when that pairing happens, he is up there as one of the best. Smacks on his A1. 15% more damage if there are debuffs out there. AoE HP burn on his A2, which also smacks really hard. A3 self buff, then hits a single target really hard. Like really hard. And if he kills someone, he does an HP burn on all enemies, which cannot be resisted. I don't kind of love, like, the fact that you've got HP burn here now and this one cannot be resisted. It's like, do I build him with accuracy or not? I don't love that type of mechanic. I think either a champion should have A, cannot be resisted, or none. Doesn't really make sense to me, but still, it's cool. It's a shame that when you slay a Hydra head, that it doesn't count as killing someone, because that would be cool as well. Doesn't work that way, but this ability is a little bit more niche. Still pretty good. He does 25% more damage and always counterattacks when attacked if Venus is around. This is probably one of the only, maybe there's like, what, 2 or 3 others which are actual worthwhile partnerships. Yeah, you got Rotus and Sifi is one. This is one of the best partnerships in the game. Always counterattacks when attacked. Any form of damage hits him, he's like, ah, I'm popping at you with this AoE A1, which does a lot of damage. So yeah, Cupidus, he's one of my favourite champions in the game, honestly. Okay, let's move on to a couple of undeads. I wasn't sure about putting Bad L in. Bad L has always been a top tier champion. Yeah, always. Very simple kit. AoE A1, which heals your team for percentage of damage. A2, 14 cleanse, puts poisons on the enemies, puts heals on you. There's a lot going on this A2. And then the passive, straight up, we're giving you more damage if there are poisons out there. So you kind of like, it's a quite simple kit, but effective. Cleanse, more damage, poison, healing. 4 really like key areas of the game. The reason why he made the list is because he's one of the best solo farmers in the game. And solo farmers actually become more and more valuable as you get further and further into the game. So Ice Golem and Dragon, he's up there as one of the best. And that's 2 areas that people tend to use solo farmers for. Why do you use a solo farmer? It's so you can bring 4 food champions. In fact, I'm doing it right now on my free-to-play. So that you can bring food champions in, or champions where you want them to level. And basically, they're leveling whilst you're earning gear. That's the thing. He's also got a crit rate aura, which is okay. Don't really use crit rate auras a lot, honestly. And he's got good base stats. He's easy to keep alive, which is why he becomes a good solo farmer. But also, if you get him earlier game, he's your healing for clan boss. He's your cleanser for clan boss. He's part poison for clan boss. Like, that's actually a really good set of mechanics. And yeah, sort of generally throughout the game, he's quite a high carry. So I felt like putting him in was okay. Some people might question it, and I'd be up for the debate, honestly. Who would you put in instead of him? Let me know. In the same faction, then, we've got Bodoth. This is, for me, the ultimate tank in the game. I love his kit. Again, quite simplistic, but I love it. High HP, good defense, incredibly slow. Doesn't really matter because the main part of his kit is not about going fast and doing stuff. It's about just being hit. So he's got an A1, triple hitter, each hit chance to increase the duration of debuffs. Got an A2, which has got a good chance of placing a provoke. Also a chance of placing decrease attack if you place provoke. This doesn't really come in a lot of the areas that we use him, honestly, but it's there. It's available. It's good for faction wars. It's okay if you're throwing him into Hydra. But yeah, it's okay. His passives are what I really love. So when this champion is attacked, heals all allies by 50% of the damage that he takes. Only heals 25% if it's boss attacks. And he's able to kind of like be your support mechanism, your healer in your team, your chance in the arena to have a go second team. Yeah, in Bommel, he's probably the best way to deal with the Bommel bombs. When they pop, he takes all of that damage. He then instantly heals the team so that if the next bomb pops, you're not taking like double whammy. You're taking one heal, spreads it out. He's actually phenomenal for that. He's also got this ability to place a leech. So when he's attacked, gets a chance to put a leech out there. And if provokes are out there, then it's improved. This isn't often the case, obviously, because provoke won't go on bosses and stuff. But still, really, really strong. Accuracy in all battles. I love this guy as the support tank. Really, really strong. I've put Husk in the mix as well. So Husk, risen in the ranks. Used to be just a really good champion for this enemy max HP with stun. Now he's a phenomenal Hydra champion as one of the better ones in the game that's going to do this whilst also being your provoker for the Head of Decay. Yeah, so this combination of high damage whilst having a secondary use. It's really important for Hydra. You want your champions to do more than one thing. This skill just gets used anywhere in the game and it's solid. Yes, if you want to bring him into Spider, it's a solid skill. It's going to be an enemy max HP smack. And that's the same for anywhere, honestly. But Hydra is where he's really found his feet and where he's really kind of like elevated up the ranks. And then the other champion also in this faction is Seeker. Seeker, I would say, just very similar to Deke. Yeah, the reason why he's good is very similar to Deke, but he does bring a different kit. So the similarity to Deke is here. Turn me to feel, 5-turn cooldown, books to 3, and you've guessed it, grants an extra turn. This is the line. If it wasn't there, this guy would be mediocre. Grants an extra turn. Basically means that you can cycle through this skill very, very quickly. Your turn meter fill comes in. He enables the 2-for-1 speed tuning for clan boss. A lot of the best clan boss unkillable teams in the game come from this skill. Also gives you an increased attack buff, so you're going to punch out more damage. But he's also got this A1 with a solid provoke. So good chance to provoke. Helps you in faction wars. More times than you would realize he helps you in faction wars. I've done account takeovers, so I'm just like, wow, this guy, who I didn't really rate much for that type of content, is just getting a clutch provoke again and again. It's really useful. If you use him in Hydra, then you've got a chance to provoke. If you use him in Magma Dragon, you've got a chance to provoke. So it's just an additional kind of whammy in there. And then this is a cool passive. So heals his champion by 20% HP and places increased defense when he's hit with a crit. It's just like an arena thing, yeah? So almost every piece of damage in the arena you take is going to be a crit. He spreads increased defense after he is hit to the rest of your allies. If you put him at the back of your team, you take a hit, then he spreads increased defense. Probably everyone's already dead. If you put him towards the front of your team, when he takes a hit, the increased defense spreads before they are actually hit, which gives them a chance to stay alive. He becomes a great go second arena champion. So yeah, Seeker in the mix in the top 25. We've got one more in this faction who made the cuts. Bashold. Kind of similar to Deacon Seeker in a way, because he's got this A2. Does it in a different way to those guys. But again, this line here grants an extra turn. It's a game changer. This is on a 3-turn anyway. Gives you increased speed and crit damage. Also puts out their True Fear and Leech. True Fear is a great way of controlling enemies. Leech is a great way of healing for your team. So whether you're running him against waves of enemies or against clan boss, he's got different functionality there. But the speed comes in all the time. You basically always have a speed buff with this dude in your team. That's pretty much what it comes down to. You cycle him round really quick. You give yourself something like a champion that increases buff duration. You've got speed up 100% of the time. And from there on out, you can do whatever you want. He becomes the champion that sets up 2-for-1 speed comps. He does a phenomenal amount of damage with this A3 as a single target hit, whilst also stealing buffs before he attacks the target. So if someone's got loaded defensive buffs up, he's like, ah, don't worry about those. We'll take those away, and then we'll lay a cannon. He does 50% more damage against people that have no buffs. Well, he's just removed the buffs to smack. So actually very cool. Gives himself some continuous heals as well. And then he's got this A1, which heals him for the damage that he does, but he'll also attack anybody that's got leech. So he hits one, looks for enemies with leech, and then hits all of those. It means that you basically got an AoE damage mechanic against enemies where it doesn't count as them being hit with AoE. So the Duchess passive doesn't stop it. The Hydra passives doesn't stop it. He just does a phenomenal amount of damage. It's quite, I wouldn't say he's underrated because people do rate him highly, but he actually does a lot of work in tons of content. He's not just a clan boss champion. He's actually really good in arena. He's really good in all dungeon content. Very, very solid champion. Attacking dungeons as well. It's pretty good. Good base speed. He's just a little bit squishy on the defense, but otherwise, really, really good. Okay, let's grab an Ogren Tribes champion out. There's not many legendaries in here, just noticed. Ogren Tribes, who are we going to call out? Of course, Udo. Udo is phenomenal in Hydra. Yeah, she really brings Hydra to its knees. She's got drop defense and block buffs. So, pretty much every Hydra set, you're either trying to deal with the Poison Cloud dude or the Head of Mischief. Yeah, one of those two is a problem. The Poison Cloud cannot place his poison block thing if block buffs is out there. The Head of Mischief can't put buffs, your buffs on him and spread them if there's block buffs out there. So this is a really good skill. Dropping defense, obviously, that enables you to do more damage. Also got a heal and cleanse on the A3, which becomes a revive if everyone else is dead. Actually a pretty decent heal from this as well. And then leech on the A1, which is good. increase speed and block damage on herself if she's the last person alive. So try and get around to this kind of like revive mechanic. But yeah, really, really strong champion. Used a ton in high-level Hydra teams, like people that have got all the legendaries under the sun, even the empowered ones, will build multiple copies of Ugo to go into their Hydra teams. That's how good she is. Right, 2 more to go. Can you guess who they're going to be? First one is another enemy max HP champ, the Royal Guard. Phenomenal in Hydra, phenomenal in Dark Fae. Very good anywhere else in the game. Still part of a lot of speed teams. Fire Knight is one of them. So we've got the enemy max HP still on his A2. It's a smack, it's a cannon, it's an AoE cannon at that. And there's not really much to be said other than everybody falls down dead. Very cool skill. Great for Hydra damage. Got the A3, which opens him up to other content like the Dark Fae, like the Fire Knight. 4-hitter. Each hit has got a chance of placing decreased speed, and it's a high chance. Each hit has also got a turn meter drop, or a chance of a turn meter drop. This is why he's so good in those two areas, Fire Knight and Dark Fae, because turn meter drop is actually really important in those areas. Got decreased defense on his A1, attack in all dungeons. He hits hard. He's actually very slow and very like squishy, but still a phenomenal champion, top 25. Last one who made the cuts. Valk. She still makes the top 25 for me because she can do stuff or enable you to do stuff that nobody else can. She enables some of the best clan boss teams in the game with this A2. Very similar to the Helicaf ability, but better. Gives you a better shield on all allies. It goes out for 3 turns and you get counter attack at the same time. So when you are hit, you've got a massive shield, which means that you're not going to take any damage. And the way shield mechanic works, I swear, is a better damage mitigation than normal kind of buffs. Counter attack, obviously, when you hit, you're going to hit back. So this is a phenomenal A2. You've got an A1, which got a turn meter drop as well. It's kind of okay, actually. People don't really realize this about a kit. It's really good for some of the bosses. And then she's got a passive, which enables her to be quite annoying in the arena. So she can, basically, her turn meter is increased each time enemies place a buff. So if you know you're up against like a high buff team, then she'll get a turn meter fill. Also, enemy champions will have their turn meters decreased for each buff they take. So if you're up against, I don't know, like a Duchess or a Sifi, and they're putting out 3 buffs on all of the enemy team, then turn meter drop will happen against all of them. The reason why she's kind of fallen a bit out of the meta for arena is because turn meter control does not work against Stone Skin. So, you know, instantly, like, Stone Skin kind of nullifies this passive, really. But, you know, for other areas of the game, she's a phenomenal tank. She hits pretty hard as well. And for stuff like Clan Boss and Hydra, she's really, really strong. So there you go. That's my top 25 champions in Raid. Let me know who you would have added in, but also tell me who you would have taken out in their place. I've been Hell Hades. I'll catch you later.